Hi, friends. Um, Before I get started talking about this art, I just want to say I sincerely hope that wherever you are today and whatever you're doing, it was as beautiful where you were as it was where I am. After this past year and this past winter, I just really needed some sunshine and some warmth, and today was it, and it was great. So, this piece, frankly, most of the time I know what I'm doing before I sit down to record. I don't have a ton of time on my hands, so, just sitting and noodling until I come up with something while my camera runs is not really an option for me. But this one was a little bit more freeform. I knew I wanted to work with Poscas just because I felt like it. I felt like working in, big, bold colors. And I'd come up with this idea for a pose for a woman that I wanted to draw. So I sat down, I sketched it out, and then I cut that part of the video out because, you couldn't see what I was doing. And then I pulled out my Posca markers, and obviously I wasn't going to be working in realistic colors because that's hard to do when you only have a 15 set of Poscas and most of them are rainbow colors instead of skin tones. But one of the things that I've noticed, and I've sort of picked this up, I guess, from art videos and then also just from looking at more abstract human art online, and Picasso, as much as I don't like him. But anyway, there is a way that you can sort of draw the human face like an architectural drawing, or like a drafting, where the levels are color coded. I don't know if that makes sense, but like where all the ridges are color coded one way and then the valleys are color coded another way, and sort of the planes are color-coded one way. And my point is, if you look at a human face and pick colors that are going to be representing those different levels of the face, and then color those in, you end up, even with unrealistic colors, with something that does basically look like the human face, because your eye sees those shapes and puts them together and has a face. And I thought maybe if I practiced that, I could do a better job of working in a realistic color scheme in the future. Like, practice the planes of the human face without worrying about color matching or trying to make it look real. So I grabbed the light blue and the dark blue and the purple, and I got to work. So I think the hand was probably actually the most difficult for me. I had an image of my own hand in this position, so it's not like I didn't have a reference. But hands are tricky, y'all. Like, if you're looking at them from, not the shape. I don't know, I hear a lot of artists in their videos be like, oh, I hate drawing hands. I actually really like drawing hands. Like, it's difficult, but it's super satisfying for me, particularly when I get it right. But the hands were really hard because there are subtle peaks and valleys, like between the tendons and stuff, or like the edge of the fingers before it moves into shadow, there's a highlight. It was tricky. It was tricky for me. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then I fully encourage you to hang your hand down like that, take a picture, and then stare at it for a while. It got me twisted, y'all. retrospect, I kind of wish I had chosen a color other than purple for this third hue in the face. I feel like with light blue and dark, I mean, I did it on purpose. I chose light blue, dark blue, and then purple for highlight, sort of mid-tone, and then shadow, and it makes a lot of sense. But just for the purposes of the exercise, I feel like I might have enjoyed the end result more if it hadn't made as much sense in the actual colors, and it had just been like 3 disparate shades. On the other hand, I hated the peach that I chose for the bottom lip and for like the highlight in the eyebrow. So I went over and filled in the eyebrow completely in pink, and in a minute you're going to see me go in and redo the lips in the blue tones. So maybe it worked out for the best in the end anyway. It's hard to say. I do really like the pink. I think it makes a good contrast with the blues that I chose for the skin tone, and I do really like the choice of the solid black background. It sets everything off. It makes it look more vibrant, in my opinion. When I had done everything through solidly once, I went back and did a second layer on a lot of places where it looked patchy, and I also did some blending between the solid colors. There were places where I really wanted just a little bit of transition, which I hadn't tried doing with Poscas before, but it worked okay. I think it probably would have worked better if I tried coloring on a palette and then picking it up with a brush, but you know, I'm learning, and either we'll get there eventually or we won't, but in the meantime, I'm having fun along the way. Let's put it like that. If I regret anything in this piece, I think it's probably the purple that I added to the hair. I don't regret adding it. I think the hair needed to have shadows or architectural levels, however you want to think about it, addressed the same way everything else did. I think that was a necessary thing to do, but I wish that I had really looked at a hair reference and then gone in and colored it more in solid blocks the way I did everything else, instead of allowing it to be more sketchy and more the way I would draw hair with a pencil. All in all, I really like the way this piece came out, and I feel like that's pretty good for something that I didn't know how it was going to go or what I was doing when I sat down to do it. So yeah, sometimes we should all experiment because it's fun and you never know what you're going to get. Bye everyone! If you like my art, or the art of any artist here on YouTube, please consider liking and subscribing. It really does help. Thanks!